Okay, so here we are at lesson 6 in the workbook of A Course in Miracles, and it seems to be a fairly simple lesson, straightforward when you read it. I am upset because I see something that is not there. Amazing. I am upset because I see something that is not there. Okay, the lesson in itself is much similar to yesterday's lesson in that we're supposed to be very specific about what it is that we're seeing that's upsetting us, worrying us, making us angry, causing us to be impatient, causing anxiety, causing loss of peace, and that's the big one, causing loss of peace. So again, for this exercise, we're told that there's no such thing, there's no degrees, aspects, and intervals. You're either upset or you're not upset. You're either upset or at peace. You're either angry or you're in peace. Degrees, aspects, and intervals are all part of the illusion of space and time, designed to establish a hierarchy in thought where perhaps some things are more important than other things. But when we look at it all from a single vantage point, say the attaining and maintenance, the acquiring, the maintenance of peace, then anything that disturbs that peace is of equal weight to anything else that disturbs the peace, because the only, in a sense, value that it has is that it's a distraction from the realization of the peace of God, and shouldn't be looked upon as any more or any less, of no greater or lesser import, no matter what degree it is. And sometimes that's a hard one. He even has a caveat in the lesson. And he says, again, if you resist applying the idea to some upsetting thoughts more than to others, remind yourself of the two cautions. There are no small upsets. They're all equally disturbing to my peace of mind. Now, the part where I am angry at my sister because I see something that is not there. Okay, this is the beginning of coming to understand the power of your own mind. And quite literally, I mean, this statement can be taken to have degrees to it. Like, what does it mean that it's not there? Well, the truth of the matter is, if we go right to the preface of A Course in Miracles, it says nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. So anything that isn't whole, perfect, and created as eternal and infinite has no reality. And our ability to see something other than that is homage to the power of our minds, which is why it's so important to discover that we've been using the power of our mind for the denial of reality, because in the recognition of the capabilities of the use of that power in denial, we actually recognize the reality of the power and its source, which is not in the world at all. So when this says, I am upset because I see something that is not there, where does sight begin? This harkens to the text of the Course in Miracles, where it begins, where we're starting to understand that all seeing starts within, bar none. Our perceptions are made up of what we have been projecting, and the world is a projection of a mind that is in separation and in denial of its own reality. So it's literally projecting something that really is not out there, first of all, because the source of seeing is within yourself, within your own mind. So you're seeing images that you're making in your mind, projected seemingly out and about and all around with the implied dimensions, shapes, sizes, and the differentiation in what we see based on the hierarchy of illusions that we've established gives us the ability to see what where we think we're viewing, to see the various pieces, bits and pieces of what we're viewing as having different values, when in fact the only value that they have is in the preservation of the ego's need to keep you in denial in order for it to have any power and any life of its own. When you begin to withdraw the power of your mind from the ego, what you begin to see is a reality that's dawning on you within, reflected in momentary flashes of light or momentary realizations, momentary insights, because you're beginning to admit that I'm the maker of the illusion that I'm looking at. Nothing I see means anything. I give it all the meaning that it has. And I'm upset because I see something that is not there. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Reality in and of itself cannot be threatening because it's whole perfect, and you're not wholly a perfect part of it. There is no threat in reality. There is nothing to be upset about in reality, because reality is only love. Your reality is love. You're all the love in the universe of God creating, outside of which there's nothing. Now, in that moment of separation, where we didn't lose our perfection, we lost communication. There was a break in communication, a momentary glitch in our awareness of reality. And in that instant, what happened was a terror struck at us, put us in a condition of no longer being conscious of what reality is, and set us on a sort of an, Jesus calls it's a positive search for something other, for reality in a place where there is no reality. It's projected thought forms, it's projected images. So when we're upset, obviously it's the cause of the upset isn't in the world around us if the sight begins within us. So we're upset. It's not out there that causing us the upset. It's that internal loss of communication that's causing us to scurry around and give meaning to that which has no meaning and has no existence whatsoever, has no reality whatsoever. And because it's not satisfying. Most of the people who I see achieve breakthroughs through the use of A Course in Miracles get to the point in their mind where they're just no longer satisfied with life on the terms it seems to be offering to us, because everything here is lost. Doesn't matter what you do or what you achieve. It has no eternal, infinite value to it. So it can't keep you happy. So at some point in time, if I'm not worried, I'm worried about money, let's say, because I see something that's not there. I'm seeing a world in which you need money to survive, and basing my survival on my ability to be successful on something that perhaps has nothing to do with what life really is. If life is living in the abundance of the kingdom and we're experiencing lack at any level, that means there's a misunderstanding of what God's will is for us. And on our part, there's a non-performance of God's will, because in doing God's will, we are happy. It's the only thing that brings us joy. And all lack, and this is a line that comes from somewhere in A Course in Miracles, lack at any level means you are not doing God's will. So somewhere in you, you're experiencing lack. You're not living from the abundance of the kingdom. As your mind begins to open up and you become aware of your own reality and the laws of that reality and begin to utilize them, we begin to, in the sense, perceive that activity in our daily life, because we're perceiving it within us, empowering it within us, and getting the result of our own thinking. And here is the same thing. It's just in the denial that we're learning of the power right now. At some point in time, and it's easy, everybody loves the idea that they can give up what hurts them. But at this point in time, we don't even know what hurts us, because we don't know who we are. So we love the idea of giving up what gets us angry, what worries us. We love that idea. But when it comes down to later on, we begin to see that the things that we thought brought us joy and happiness are equally illusory. Then there's a real decision that has to be made. But if you can see, if you begin to see the unreality of the projected imagery, all as being equally illusionary, then it's not that great of a leap to the understanding that perhaps the things that we consider sources of happiness here are just sort of pale imitations of that which brings us true happiness. So at some point, the admonition, give up the world. The world holds nothing that I want. Well, of course it doesn't. It's not even there. I'm angry at the world because I see something that is not there. I'm angry, I'm worried about my life because I'm seeing a world that is not there. In the admission of the use of the power of our mind in denial allows us to begin to experience the restoration of the recognition that our thinking and our minds have power. And perhaps when we remember what we did, how we squandered our Father's goods, how we squandered the power, when moments come of real decision being offered to us, perhaps we'll change our mind and not settle for the use of the power of our mind in denial, but we'll simply say, no, I no longer want to do that. You don't have to know what to do instead. You just have to know you no longer want to do that. And when the time of decision comes, when the instant of decision is offered you, just simply not do what you've always done in the past. And then something different can begin to occur. Because in that instant, you allow the light of true understanding, the Holy Spirit. You allow something to enter into you that's always been there, into your awareness. When I say enter into you, I'm not talking about physically entering you, although it may feel like that. What I'm talking about is to enter into your awareness from a previous condition of having been unaware of it. Not that it was ever lacking in you, because there's nothing lacking in any one of us. We were given everything in our creation. It didn't go anywhere. We just misplaced it, covered it over by an illusion of seeing things that is not there. And now we're loosening that tight structure that we've thought we've had to maintain and utilize to maintain life in a world of space and time. And we're seeing that perhaps there's a different goal. God had a different plan for us than the plans we've made for ourselves. And the plans we make for ourselves are all based on the denial of our own reality. And they don't exist outside of ourselves. They start within, get projected out, and we perceive that which we're projecting as if it's there, when in fact it's not there at all. So just do the lesson that it's asked to do. You search your mind for a minute or so for things that are upsetting you, worrying you, bringing you anxiety, and you apply the lesson. I'm worried about having lost my job because I see something that's not there. It's a simple lesson. And again, the admonition, there are no small upsets. For the purpose of these exercises, and I love that line. It says, I cannot keep this flow of upset and let others go. For the purpose of these exercises, I will regard them as all the same. And that's what's going to help us generalize these lessons to include everything, so that eventually you're going to understand at a very deep yet simple and profound level that nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. And you have a reality that cannot be threatened. And that reality can begin to dawn on you, enter your awareness, and you could live from the truth of that reality rather than by the previous denial of that reality that resulted in this illusion of space and time. So that's today's lesson. Thanks.